Morning everybody, it's Rob, Yoga Dad, and it is day 27 of our summer stretch challenge. Only 4 more sessions to go, can you believe it? It's been a rapid travelling, I suppose, through this past 6 weeks, a journey that we've had together over this past 6 weeks. And whether you've joined me for the first time today, or this is the 27th session that you've been with me, or you've just been dipping in and out of the sessions over the past 6 weeks, then I'm really grateful for the fact that you've taken this time out to join me today. Now, this week we're shining a light on Off the Record Bristol, which do a huge amount of work for children and young people, particularly around supporting their mental health. And I know certainly during this lockdown period, over this past 6 months since schools have been out, many children are doing the PE with Joe sessions, Joe Wicks. And so this morning's session is going to be kind of a recovery session that I often do when I'm doing Joe Wicks sessions myself in the house. And in fact, I did a session about 6 a.m. this morning that was exactly like this. So anyway, let's get going. So we're going to start in whatever shape works for you as a comfortable shape. It might be that you're sitting cross-legged on the floor, maybe in an all-fours position. I'm going to take myself back, hips to heels. So I'm going to take my knees in towards one another and just land the hips down towards the heels, towards the back of the mat. Now if that feels uncomfortable for you, across the top of the legs, along all the way down towards the feet or across the knees, then feel free just to use some extra support or just find a different shape. So that comfortable cross-legged position, all fours, that kind of thing. Landing my arms now down by the body and just resting the head down on the floor. And just bringing ourselves into the space, this virtual space that we've got together for this next 15 minutes as we get started. And if we were just finishing one of Joe Wicks' sessions, then we'd be looking at the way in which we can kind of just start regulating the breath. Bringing the body temperature back down again, slowing the heart rate. And just really feeling with each inhale and exhale, the body lifting up. Ever so slightly off the sides and then settling back down again. We're just feeling as we breathe now into the back body and just feeling that length, the space that we're creating all the way along the spine. And just holding this position, whatever shape you're in this morning for another 5 breaths. Long, slow, steady inhales. Deep exhales. Really feel as though you're breathing every last ounce of that breath out of the body. And then slowly lifting yourself up. Now for all of us now, we'll take ourselves into an all-fours position. So hands out to shoulder distance apart, feet, knees hip distance apart, toes tucked under. Pressing down through the palms, we'll inhale, lift up. Looking up towards the sky, ceiling above us, arching the spine, tailbone pointing up. Exhaling, pressing down through the palms, rounding the spine, tucking the tailbone under. 4 more breaths. Just introducing, inviting that extra mobility along the full length of the spine. Create space across the chest. Length all the way from the jawbone down towards the belly button. And again, by integrating the breath through that movement, we can just slow and steady the breath so it responds to every move that we make. Final exhale, chin to chest, and then back to a neutral position. Then we'll start taking our hips back down towards the heels, just lowering them as far as feels comfortable to you, and then inhaling back up again, shoulders over the wrists. Back down. Lengthening along the arms, starting to lengthen along the side body, and then back up. Exhaling back down, inhaling back up again. Now we can start varying that movement around, so let's take our hips out to one side, hips back to heels, and then to the other side with the hips, and then across the wrists. So just going in whatever shape, circles, squares, figure of eights, whatever feels good to you this morning in one direction. And then back again in the opposite direction. Just feeling as we create that space, not just across the hips, but also the inner thighs, and that weight distribution over the wrist, just making sure that doesn't feel too uncomfortable. Extending the arms out in front. Still with the toes tucked under, we're going to lower our head now down towards the floor between the arms, hips down towards the heels. Doesn't matter that they don't get down there. If needs be, just use any kind of support, pillows, cushions, that kind of thing between the hips to the heels, as required. So pressing down through the outside of the palms, just to turn the elbow creases upwards. Upper arms away from the ears. Shoulders down away from the ears as well. Lengthening all the way down towards the hips. And just again feeling that opening, that space that you're creating across the chest. Landing the forearms down now, elbows down towards the floor. Crawling forward, head between the upper arms. And then as you arrive forward, just taking the toes and tucking them, and just placing the tops of the feet flat down on the floor. Now we'll take our elbows now underneath the shoulders. We take our hands out towards the corners of the mat, and we inhale as we lift up. So lifting the crown of the head, just introducing a slight back bend. And again, if that feels uncomfortable at all, then feel free just to take the elbows that little bit further forward than the shoulders, just to decrease the bend in the back. Otherwise, inhaling to lengthen, lifting the head up, exhaling chest forward between the upper arms, hips sinking down towards the floor. An option here just to press down through the palms and lifting the elbows up. Whichever position you find yourself in, land in those arms, those elbows back down on the floor, hands underneath the shoulders, keeping the elbows tucked in. Toes tucked under, pressing down into the palms, lowering the knees if you need to as you arrive into our plank position, otherwise pressing down through the balls of the feet, lifting those knees up, keeping the tailbone tucking under, belly button drawing in towards the spine, and exhaling now as we lift the hips up and back towards the opposite side of the room and keeping the knees nice and bent. So pressing down through the palms, maybe even taking the hands that little bit wider apart, and just start walking the heels out. So lifting one heel up and then the other, feeling that length that you're creating all the way along the back of the legs. Lifting both feet up, lowering the heels down. Doesn't matter whether the heels land down on the floor. Bending the knees, walking the hands back in towards the feet, hands to shins on an inhale. Exhaling to fold forward, bend the knees, placing the forearms crossing over one another, and just allowing the head just to lower down towards the floor, and maybe even straighten the knees, just to increase the intensity of the stretch all the way along, from the heels up towards the hip sockets, for our hamstring calf stretch. Now bending the knees, arms out to the side, inhaling, lift up, and exhaling, hands to center. Arms down by the side, just take a moment, just in the standing position, just closing the eyes, just feeling that grounding down through the floor, length all the way up through the top of the head, fingers reaching down, almost as though they could touch the ground beneath us. Nice up gaze, open the eyes, slight bend in the knees, inhaling, lift up and overhead, exhaling, fold forward, head reaching down towards the floor, hands to shins on an inhale, exhaling, fold forward. Walking the hands back forward again, back into our plank position. Again, option here to lower the knees down or keep them lifted. Either way, shoulders above the wrists. Really feel as though you're pressing down through the balls of the feet, lengthening all the way along from the back of the head, along the back body. Nice and strong through the abdominals. Inhaling to lengthen, exhaling, slowly lower the chin, chest, hips towards the floor, keeping those elbows tucked in. And tucking the toes when you get down there. Elbows underneath the shoulders again. Hands playing out towards either corner of the mat. And again, lifting the head up, chest forward, pressing down through the palms, lift the elbows up. And then back down again on an exhale. Hands back underneath the shoulders, tucking the toes back under. Lifting ourselves back up again into our plank. Lowering our knees down if we've not done so already, and just walking the hands back in towards the knees, hips towards the heels. Lifting the hips now up off the heels. We'll take the right foot forward. I'm just going to take one of the blocks that I've got, just placing it alongside me there, just outside the mat. Again, just use a thick book if you need to. And again, heel turn that right foot, that front foot forward until you feel the stretch along the back of the right leg. And also just adjusting that back leg as you need to. just to increase the intensity of stretch along the inner thigh on that back leg. Hands across that front knee, lifting the upper body away from that front side. And as you exhale, slowly lowering the hips down towards the floor. Arms out in front is an option, thumbs towards the ceiling. Option to lift the arms up and overhead. So again, lengthening along the side body all the way down towards the hips. And the hips sinking forward and down along that front thigh. Maybe even introducing a slight back bend as you look up towards the ceiling or sky above you. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling, hands forward this time. Now I'm going to use this block now just to provide a bit of extra support to the palm on the left side, so that left hand. I'm going to bring the right hand now onto that right knee. I'm going to take the right arm and just start rotating it back. One direction and then back forward again. We'll do that twice more. Inhaling as you lift up and exhaling, rotating back. Now we'll still keep that left hand placed on that block or directly on the mat. Right hand across the right knee. And we're going to start lifting our left heel up towards the left side of the backside. Back down again. And then twice more. So really feeling that stretch along the quadricep in the front thigh, in that backside. And then back down again. And an option now to integrate it all. Right hand back, left heel up, back down, twice more. Doesn't matter whether that right hand connects with that back foot as it lifts up. Just go to a position that feels good to you. So we'll just take that block away to one side. We'll just heel toe the right foot out a little bit further. So right toes pointing out towards the corner of the mat. We'll place our hands now inside that right foot and just resting the inside of the right knee along the outside of the right shoulder. You can either stay in this position, feel free to do so, just really allowing the upper body just to sink down along the inside of the right thigh. Stretch now for the right groin. Or start walking the hands forward. So really allowing the upper body just to lower that little bit further forward. And really feeling that length now all the way from the top of the head, all the way down towards the tailbone, as you sink into this stretch. Nice and strong through the arms, avoiding the chest, upper body collapsing down, rounding the spine as much as possible, so keeping that head lifted. And then slowly bring the hands back in again. Now options here are either to just keep that back knee lowered down and taking that right knee back, or lifting that left knee up, just to introduce a high lunge as we take ourselves back. And you can just stay there for a moment if you wanted to in that plank position. For all of us now, lowering the knees down, hips back towards the heels. And we do the same on the opposite side. So hands to hips, hips now up off the heels, left foot forward. Again, heel toe that left foot to a position at which you feel the stretch. And really feel as though the inner thighs, the legs are just moving in towards the centre just to help with stability. Hands now across that front thigh, front knee, lifting the upper body up on an inhale, exhaling to sink back down again. Feeling that stretch now along the inner right thigh, arms out in front, thumbs towards the sky. Option to lift the arms up and overhead. And again, really feel that length now. Fingers up towards this beautiful bright blue sky this morning. Hips sinking down to the damp grass beneath me. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling, hands now framing that front foot. And again, we now take, in fact, I'm going to turn myself around the other way so you can still see me. So I'm going to take that block, could easily be a thick book, just placing the right palm against it. Left hand to the left knee. And again, start those rotations. So inhaling back, exhaling forward. Twice more. Just really feeling that opening across the chest, the shoulders, along the arms, and then back forward again. Left hand to left knee, lifting the right heel now up towards the back side, feeling that stretch along the right thigh. Back down again, once more, back down, and then integrating the two. Arm back, right foot up, Inhaling back, maybe even looking over that back shoulder, and then back round again. Take that right block, the block away from the right hand, heel toeing that left foot now out towards the side, left toes towards the corner of the mat if you've got one. Resting the inner left knee along the outer left shoulder, pressing down through the palms, and really feeling that upper body sinking down along the inside of the left thigh. An option just to start walking the hands forward again, as you allow the upper body just to sink down a little bit further towards the floor. You lengthen all the way from the top of the head towards the tailbone, and deepen into that stretch for the groin along the left leg. Just take a few more breaths. Inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to sink down. Slowly walking the hands back in on the inside of that left foot, and again the option just to keep that right knee down and take the left leg back, or press down to the ball of the right foot, pressing down to the ball of the right foot as you lift the right knee, left foot back. Stay for a moment in a plank position, lower the knees down, walking the hands back in towards the knees, hips towards the heels, and bringing yourself back round to the centre. And there we are, voila. Another 15 minutes gone already. So I hope you enjoyed this morning's session. As I said, this is kind of a warm down that I typically do after a Joe Wicks high intensity session, and great if you're doing kind of P with Joe sessions, that kind of thing, as he kickstarts that again as the schools start returning this week. Anyway, have an awesome day, and hopefully see you tomorrow, and yeah, enjoy the sun if you can. Namaste.